Links to everything will be in the description below. The first step to set up our health system for our game is create our script. It's going to be the easiest thing to start at. So we're going to create a new C# script. We're going to call it health. So this health script is going to be something that can go on players and enemies alike. So we want to build it in such a way that it is generic enough. We're going to start off with some variables. We're going to need a couple of serialized fields and a couple of private variables. For this image variable, if you just hit Control period, it's going to pull up and it says using unityengine.ui. You'll want to click on that, and that's going to add this using statement up here. So we have a max health, a starting health. The difference between these is perhaps we want the player to be able to overheal. If that's the case, we need a max health separate from a starting health. We have a private current health, and then we have a bool that asks is it a player or not, because we might want to handle death differently if an enemy dies versus if a player dies. And then we have an image for our health bar that we will use for our health bar. In our start function, we just need to set current health equal to starting health. So current health equals starting health. In our update, we don't need to do anything, so we can get rid of our update. We do need a public void TakeDamage function though. And this TakeDamage function is going to input some information, namely the damage that we want to take. We need to determine if we are overhealing or not. So the first thing we do here is we say if our current health minus damage. So the way healing is going to work is we'll just feed in a negative number, because a number minus a negative number is really adding to it. So if our current health minus damage is greater than our maximum health, we're going to just set it equal to our maximum health. Then we're going to want to update our UI. Otherwise, we'll just take damage as normal. So our current health equals our current health minus our damage. And then we update our UI. The next step is we want to handle what happens if we die. The reason why we've set this to less than or equal to 0 is, what if you're at 1 health and then you take an attack that does 5 points of damage? If it's just equal to 0, you'd be at -4 health, which is not equal to 0, so it would not fire. In this case, it handles overkill as well as exact kills. Then we ask if we are a player. We're just going to Debug.Log die for now, so we aren't going to reload levels yet. Otherwise, we're going to destroy ourselves. The next part is our update UI function, and here we are going to do a safety check. If there is a health bar assigned to this object, we are going to update our health bar to be equal to a ratio of our current health to our maximum health. This will be using the fill amount, which I'll explain in the Unity portion in a second. Otherwise, we're just going to debug the object's name plus our current health value. So let's save our script and set it up in Unity. We are going to open up our enemy prefab. We're going to attach our health script to it, give it a maximum health. I'm going to go with 10. I'm going to set my starting health to be 10. I'm going to now create our health bar object. So we're going to go to our art folder, and we need to make the art for this. So I'm going to go over this process. I'm going to use Affinity Designer to do this. This is the art program that I like to use. If you want to use something else, go for it. The only important thing is that your art problem has transparency enabled. So I'm going to select something rectangular. I'm going to just go with this resolution. And then our health bar is going to be in 2 components. One bar is going to be the color of an empty health bar, and the other one is going to be the color of a filled-in health bar. And then effectively, we're going to control this kind of slider here, where the 2 images will be overlaid on top of each other. So I'm going to make my full health bar a red, and I'm going to make my empty health bar this white. Then I'm going to want to go export. PNG is fine, and I'm going to just export it in my video resources. I don't need to save this document. And then I'm going to import a new asset. I'm going to select my health bar. I'm going to make sure I change this to multiple. Open up our sprite editor. Come up here to slice, hit slice, and then hit apply. This separates it into 2 separate sprites. So if I click this arrow, you can see both of them. It's important that they are both the same size. For the canvas setup, inside my enemy prefab, I'm going to create a UI image. I'm going to name this back health. The way these images are rendered, I'm going to duplicate this, is the one at the bottom of the list is going to be rendered on top of the one behind it. So I will make this front health. Then we just need to plug in our images. So front health is going to be the one that changes, so that's going to be the red image. The white one is going to be the background. If I shift select both of these and click set native size, it'll fix the proportions for me. All I need to do then is change our canvas so our canvas exists in world space rather than screen space. So I'm going to change it to world space here. I'm going to change the width and height of this canvas to something much smaller, or you can mess with the scale. I'm going to do 0.03 for the scale to start off with. I'm going to set our position equal to 0, 0. So it is going to be centered on our object. We're going to come in and look at it. We're going to still want to shrink a little bit more for our canvas. So I'm going to get this canvas looking like what I want my health bar to look like. So I'm going to move it to my player and keep fiddling with it till it looks like a health bar in front of my player. I think it makes sense for this health bar to be right behind it. So once I get it something that I like, I am looking at this white box right here. So this white box right here is going to be the actual size of the health bar. I'm holding down shift to scale it proportionally. Once I get it to something that I like, I'm going to shift select both of these. I selected select native size again. I'm going to keep shrinking this till I get it to how I want. I want this to be inside of this white box. So we could go with this. This looks fine to me. So we're going to drop a save. Then we need to select our front health bar part and come down here where it says image type. We're going to change this to filled. We're going to change the fill method to horizontal, and we're going to go left to right. You can see now with this fill amount, as this changes, the health bar depletes, and that is exactly what we want to happen. This is that fill amount variable that we are affecting in our script. So we're going to go to our enemy. We're going to plug in our front health bar, and then we are going to go back to Unity. For our player, we also need to add on a health component. So I'm going to do that. However, I'm not going to add a health bar to the player yet because I haven't decided how I wish to do the health. I might do just like a health bar overlay like standard, or I might try and do something different with it. I'm going to set the player's max health to be 50. Starting health to be 50. We're going to check our checkbox that says we are a player, and we'll leave our health bar blanked. That's all we have to do to set up our health system. Now to test it, we need to set up damage. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to modify our enemy attack script. So if we open up our enemy folder and we open up our melee attack, we scroll down to this debug part where we said do damage. Now all we have to do is say if enemiesToDamage at index of I dot GetComponent Health. So if they have health, we want to make them take damage, and the damage amount is going to be equal to our damage variable. Now it's throwing an error because our damage up here is set to be a float, so I'm just going to change this to an int. So it matches the type that our function is expecting to get right here. If you want to, you could have damage as a float, but there's no reason to necessarily have that if you don't want it to be. So I'm going to go back to melee attack. It could be safe if you wanted to check here to make sure that it has the health component, but I'm not going to worry about it because of my layer mask. I will have the layer mask only allow things to hit that have that damage function. But if you want to, you could definitely include that. So we're going to save our script, and now we just have to test it out. So I'm going to go to my console so we can see everything. We're going to hit play. Now that that has loaded, we are going to switch our guy to attack mode, and we're going to move over to it. I'm going to click down here to pull up my console so we can see what's happening. I'm going to move here. You can see that our player's health is in fact taking damage. However, the number is not changing because our damage is probably set to 0. I don't believe we set that variable up, so let's do that real quick. Go back to my prefab, go to my attack script, and we're going to say the damage is 5. I'm going to hit play, and we'll test it out again. So I'm going to walk into our thing, and you can see our health is ticking down. We should see a message when we die. There it is, die, and our health value is still going down because we are still colliding because we haven't done anything to destroy the player. The exact same function will work for the enemy. So all we have to do for the enemy is, just like the player, call the same GetComponent Health, take damage, and feed in the amount of damage you want to take. I hope you found this video interesting. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in the next one.